Okay, so in this video, let's talk about the draw tools as well as the styles. We'll see what styles are. In order to use some of these tools, it's grayed out. That is because you don't have any sort of a shape or a path, anything. That's why make sure you are in frame 0 in order to draw anything. And also a vector layer should be selected. Now let's get this tool, the add point tool. A is the shortcut key. So get the add point tool. Now you have something called as the auto weld, auto fill, auto stroke. So make sure these two are enabled. Now just start from here and also decide your color first before drawing. In Moho, it's not like any other software. You have to, it's better, it's recommended to first choose the color, because if you need to change the color again after drawing a shape, you might want to take this select shape tool. So that's a bit of an extra step. So I would recommend choose your color now. I'm going to choose a visible blue and stroke. Yeah, let it be that. Now let's click, and now you can see if I just click here and when I move my mouse, it just creates a curve for me. This is almost works like the curvature tool in Adobe Illustrator. So it works very similar to that. And when I click here and then move, every one of my line becomes a curve. So once you let it go here, as you can see, it just fills the shape because I have enabled auto fill and auto stroke. If you want any of these enabled, but if you don't want the stroke or the fill, you can disable them and you can start drawing. Now this sharp corner, I do not recommend you to use this. Instead, use the shortcut key of that, which is control. So if I now want press here, if I control press, that point is going to be a sharp point. But if I now click here and then just move without clicking control, that becomes a curve. Now so that I can control click here and then just control click here, control click here and control click here. Now I can create a shape like this. So this got both sharp turn and curved turns as well. But of course you can enable this now. Every single time you press, it is going to be a straight line, a sharp turn. So while drawing, as you can see, if I switch this off, here you can see something called as the Bezier handles. Now let's say you want to end the shape. Now to end it, finish it off from here, you can't select any other tool. Like if I take this tool, now here to here there is a line. That's a problem. So as you can see, there is a point. So what if I want to end it right here while I'm drawing? I want to end it right here, then press escape on your keyboard and that settles the shape. Now this is called the Bezier handles. You can select them and you can move them to give it a more of a curve, or let's say you want to only take control of this handle, not the other one. Now hold down Alt and then click drag, and now you can take control of only that handle. Now this applies to any shape. Even if you use the shape tools while you're using this point selection, let's say you selected this point and now you can hold down Alt and click drag, you can get something like this. Now let's get back to the add point tool and I want to teach you this auto weld. Now if that is disabled, let's say you are drawing a shape and you are completing the shape, it's finished. Now let's say you are drawing another line or a shape on top of this. So if you click here and then if you click one point here, if you add one point here, it's not going to connect with that line because weld is off. So if I now one click and then if I another click here and press escape to end this, and now you can see if I take this point tool and if I select that point and if I move, it don't move, the other shape don't move because it's not welded. So if you want it to get welded, you can enable it. Now if you one click, it got welded. Now as you can see, now I can select this point and when I move, there's only one point here connected to both the shapes. Alright, now let's talk about the curvature tool, which is next to it. So if you select the curvature tool, it will mainly show you the Bezier handles. Now that's not the main use of the curvature tool. Of course you can control the handles with this curvature tool. Also you can easily convert a point. You can select a point and then press this sharp turn to convert it to a sharp turn or a curve like that. So that's one use of it. But in this tool, most importantly, you can create round corners. If I create a box, and then if I take the curvature tool and while all the points are selected, I don't know if you can see, but all of these are red color indicating that all points are selected. Now you just click drag, your mouse cursor. As you can see, you can create something like this. This applies to doing for only one. If you select only one point, you can select one point. You just have to control click on a point to select that point. Let's say before any of these, I'll quickly select this, and let's say I want to change this color for black. So now the curvature tool is selected. Now it's obvious you can control click on this point so that only that point is selected. Now you can click drag. Okay. See, now you can click drag, only that is going to convert it to a curve. Now let's talk about the freehand tool. We saw in our previous video about this, but let's even talk about bit advanced part about the freehand tool. So while this is selected, autofill, auto strokes are both enabled. Now when you click drag, it is going to, in real time, it is going to fill the shape. Okay, so once you let it go, it just stops from here. But keep in mind, between here and here, it's not really connected. So you can clearly see that if you take this point selection tool, there is no path here. But of course you can connect them if you want to, like taking this point tool, and you can select a point and then move a point closer to each other. So once you have kept it and closer to each other, then you just have to press enter to connect it. Okay, now I have zoomed in. As you can see, it is connected. Now I can just spread them to show you that they are connected. See, now even though in between these two there is no proper stroke, it is connected because you can see this green color line which is showing you right here, a green color line, which means it is connected. Now about this auto well ends. Okay, weld ends. Now this is not usable if this is something to do with the stroke only. That's why when the fill is disable it, you can't control it. So now when I enable this, but I'm not going to enable, I'm just going to draw one stroke line, auto stroke enable. So between here to here, let's take just not just click but just click drag. Okay, now I have a line. Okay, now if I draw a line exactly on top of that line, both are not connected, we can take this point tool and then we can move them separately. But you get the point now, right? If this is enabled, if I draw it now, it'll all be connected. See, this is a single shape now. Now let's talk about multi-stroke fill. This is really useful, but when it's disabled, let's say you're going to take your time and you're going to draw some shape. Okay, maybe the shape is so complex you have to take some time. With the normal method, the autofill and the auto stroke is enabled. Let's say you want to draw a shape and maybe you are tired drawing a perfect line and you want to let go of pressing the mouse, and now the problem is when you continue along with it, these two are now two separate shapes. That's the problem. But when that is enabled, when the multi-stroke is enabled, even if you let it go, it is still going to be a single shape. So while that is enabled, now I'm trying to draw the same thing. Now maybe I'm tired or something. Maybe I wanted to take my mouse press. I don't want to click my mouse press and I let it go. Now I want to continue again. I can start from here. As you can see, it is continuing, or I can continue it very close and I can keep on doing this, and the entire shape, I can take my time to do this. But keep in mind, if you don't press closer and continue, there is a empty stroke gap, but this is a single shape, of course, here to here. But this way, maybe you can create like advanced shapes like this. Maybe you want to create a pill shape, right? And you want to continue it from this side, and maybe if you decided between here to here you don't want the stroke to be there, and now there is no stroke. See, you can select all of these points, and for some reason there is 2 points here. Yeah, you can just select a point and press the delete button to delete the point. Now I just have one. Now I can just move it like this. See, there won't be any stroke here. But you could have done the same thing in a different way. Let's talk about it right now. And also, if you want to delete a shape, you can select on it and press the delete button. You have to make sure all the points are selected in order to delete a shape, or just let's say only one point is selected. Now you can use the delete shape tool and then click like that to delete any shape that you want to with that delete tool. Let's say I have something like this. Let's say I want to hide the edge now. So now you have to use the hide edge tool, which is found here. This is the hide edge. Now there are similar tool like this one. There's another one that's called the delete edge, and the hide edge, they look the same. But while the delete edge is taken, now if you delete it, there is no connection between here to here. There is no line. Okay, the shape is not closed. That's why the fill color goes away. It gets deleted because you can't put a fill now unless you close the shape. So you need to close the shape. So to close the shape, you have to take this create shape tool, right? While it is taken, while this is selected, while the shape is selected, the stroke is selected, now you can decide whether you want to add the fill. Now you can just press connect and create shape, because we know that here to here it's not connected, right? But let's say you know for sure that it is connected, then you can press create shape. But if you feel like it is not connected, then you press connect and create. So it just creates it. Now even though there is no stroke line showing here, but the shape is fully connected. Alright, now back to that hide edge. So you know the delete edge now, and if you delete a edge, you know how to connect it to using the create shape tool. Now we will go to hide edge. So take the hide edge tool, you can click here, here, or here, 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 and then of course you can click on them again to add them. So you can click on, this is not only to hide, so of course you can add and click to remove. As you can see, we have a shape like this. You can control these points. The points are not deleted at all. The points are there, but only the stroke is just hidden temporarily. If you want to, you can again press the same tool and get it back. Now for the magnet tool. Okay, this is like the wrap tool in Photoshop, but here this is called as the magnet tool here in Moho, but in Illustrator the same tool is available. It's called as the wrap tool. So using this, you can click drag and you can take control of those points. You can move those points like this. You can do like this, you can do like this, and of course if you want a bigger radius, you can click drag here. You can alter the look of the shape like this. So it is really convenient, it is very useful, just remember this. Also one more thing, if you enable selected points only and you are taking this select point tools, and then if you now just click drag using this, now only those, when I enable this and when I click drag, only those points will be getting affected by the magnet. Every other point won't get affected. Now eraser tool is very easy to understand. It just erases almost anything just like that, and it keeps the shape as a full shape. It doesn't delete the edge. Instead, it just removes part of that shape. So this is not works like a real eraser, but it just alters the look of the shape. That's what this eraser. Now let's talk about the point reduction tool, this one. For this you need, let's say, hand drawn. You drew something with the mouse. So I'll make sure the auto stroke is enabled too, and then I will just draw something with the freehand tool. Of course, I'll draw something. Alright, now you decided to make the edges more smooth, then you can use this tool. So while this is selected, now you just have to click drag on the points that you want to reduce. Now here you have like 3 points, and now it is getting much more simplified. Now you can increase the radius of this brush, and now it's obvious when you click drag. As you can see, I think that's way too much. Maybe I'll leave it somewhere here, and now it did its best to smooth or remove those points and to make the shape look more smooth. Now for the scatter brush, and right now this is not going to be useful to you. There are some default brushes that already set for you. You can just draw like bubbles or leaves. I'll have to select leaves and then click drag. As you can see, I have draw leaves, and you can try the rest. Now for the perspective point tool, in order to use this, you first need a shape. So I will create a new vector layer, delete the old one, so it will be nice and neat. So let's say you want to make this looks like it is 3D. You want to alter the perspective of this, then get this and then click drag in left, right, or up, down. This applies to a circle or almost any complex shape, anything. You can just alter the perspective of that. Now shear tool, you would have guessed, it just slants the box or any shape in the direction that you are pressing. Now for the other one, the bind tool, this is really interesting, but now if I use the bind tool, it's not going to do much. As you can see, it almost looks like the perspective tool because there is no supporting points for this shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this look more like a wider rectangle, and now I will add split this. So click on the points and make sure the first one this is selected and press split, maybe one time, maybe another time. Okay, that's enough, this number of points. If you want, you can add more points, then get the bend tool and then click drag like this to bend. But make sure, let's say you click from here and then click drag down in one go. Don't move the mouse now here and there, sometimes it will get messed up. Move it all the way down here and let it go. I get the shape looks like this. But if you look left and right, you get something else. See, you can do that, or you can do the other way around, and this applies to almost any complex shape. All you have to do is just click drag at the first, for the first few drags, like here to here, it's a bit slow. You can't really see the effect on spot, but if you move it all the way here, you will be able to see. As you can see, if I click drag, I can't really see, but passing this point, I can clearly see that change. Now for the noise. So I'm also going to add more split points to show you what's noise. So while this is selected, the noise tool, now you can just click drag to add some organic look to the shape. So when I now click drag, as you can see, it just creates some random movements for the points here and there. Okay, now that I have added noise, let's say you want to make these points look curved, then what do? You take this curvature tool, and then while all the points are selected, you start from somewhere and then click drag. Right now when you zoom in, as you can see, you have that nice curve to all of these points. Alright, so we already talked about this, the create shape tool. So usually this is helpful. Let's say you are creating a freehand drawing and you forgot to enable this. Okay, let's say you forgot to enable autofill, and let's say you disable this too. Now when you draw something with the freehand tool, and then this just a path, it doesn't have any fill or a stroke. So on this situation you can't even use this tool. Instead you have to, not the select shape, you can't use this, but you have to press create shape, and while this is selected, this time you can press create shape. But before you do that, make sure to change the color, let's say to green or anything, or the fill to red, let's say. Now press create shape and it is going to create it. Also here enable auto stroke if it's disabled, I mean stroke, enable it if it's disabled, so you get something like this. Now let's talk about the paint bucket. Now while I have created a new layer, so I'll just create a shape. So I'll just go to frame 0 and then let's say I create a shape. I'll keep on creating the shapes like this, different shapes. Let's say triangle and a circle as well. Now take the paint bucket tool and then you can start changing the color. Okay, let's say you are changing the color to blue and this stroke color to something else. Alright, now while the paint bucket tool is selected, just click on the other shapes to apply the color to almost all the shapes. So that is how the paint bucket tool works. So using the paint bucket tool, you can do almost all of these changes, and these changes will get applied to the bucket. That means you are carrying inside the paint bucket, and now if you click on these shapes, we will be adding those effects or whatever is selected here to those shapes. Now for the line width, which is found here. So this is really cool. So if you take the line width, while all the points are selected, if you click drag, you can see you can control the width entirely. But that's not interesting because you can do that here itself. Then what is interesting is, let's say I will select that point, maybe this point only. Now if I take the line width tool and when I click drag, as you can see, I can control the width like this. I can increase or decrease. I can almost do the same thing for any shape. Let's say that point and this point. So yeah, I'm just going to, let's say with this tool selected, I'll select these 2 points. Now take this tool and you can control only those two. The best part about this is you can animate this on your timeline. So while you're at frame 6, just one press with this line width tool is selected. Now just move it to, let's say 18 and then click drag. Now when you check the animation, you get something like this. Also, now as you can see, these are while you have selected a layer and while you are in the frame, not in frame 0, okay, while you are here, these draw tools can be any animatable. That means you can animate only this. You can make sure that you can move the stroke exposure. I mean, you can animate it, you can animate this perspective or shear it, or you can bend it and then see the bend as an animation. You can add noise or use the magnet tool or use even the curvature tool. This is the stroke exposure. Now for the stroke exposure tool, this one next to the height tool. So while that is selected, I want you to select the shape and then click drag. You can see if you just click drag here, you can take control of that entire line stroke. But you can also take more control over here. So when you click drag here, you can clearly control the start and the end point according to how you wish. Okay, now let's talk about this one, the curve profile. But for this, you better delete all of the shapes and create a new layer. So let's delete the older one and make sure the new one is selected. Now, let's say you are going to create a circle. You can create any shape, even using the freehand tool doesn't matter. Make sure one shape is created. Now you can create a profile like this. Look at this icon. So almost like this, you can create a profile. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so now let's take any tool, add point tool or any tool, and then create, let's say I want to create a point like this. Okay, maybe something like this. And I would like to create one more. Maybe this time it's much more of a curved one. So like this, and press escape to let it go. Now all you have to do is, while the main shape is selected, all of this main shape is selected, now get this curve profile tool and then you just have to click on the top one or the bottom one. So I just want press on the top one. Now we have taken this and applied to that, or let's say you click on this one. Now the best part about this is that you can take this point tool and you can select this point and then you can make it smaller. So now the same thing applies to this side, and I can make it much more bigger. I can almost make it look like any shape that we want. Now as you can see, this looks really cool. Now if this view is disturbing to you, all of these points are disturbing your view, means you move your mouse here and it says show curves, press on it and to see a clean preview. But keep in mind to enable, don't forget, enable it back again, and now you can do all of these things. It's really cool and you can take full control of your shape. And the best part about this is animatable. That means while you're on frame 1, I want to click on this point. Now we have created a keyframe for that point only, not for any other point. Keep in mind, now move this to, let's say, 12 and move this to look like this. Okay, now you can see the animation in between, and now just imagine the capabilities of this tool. Like you can do unlimited things with this. Now for the last one, the color point tool, once again I'm just going to take the delete tool and delete everything and then draw. Yeah, this delete just the shape, that's the problem. So I'm just going to create a new vector layer. While that is selected, we can start drawing. Let's say I want to draw a circle. Okay, I want to draw two circles. So for the first circle, this one, while this is selected, I would like to apply a gradient for this. So you go to effect 1 and then enable a gradient, and once you're happy, press OK. So this is the gradient that you have. I'm just going to leave it here. Now the problem with this gradient is, now if you take all of this point tool and then if you select the points and if you move, now sometimes the gradient won't look exactly like how you want. I'm just going to control this furthermore at the point here and change a new color, also the black color. So for the black too, I'm just going to change it to red, and then press OK. Now if I select that point and if I move down, as you can see, when I move it down, I can't see the red, or if I move the blue up, I can't see that blue here, and it's not really following this. So let's also do the animation. So let's start from frame 1. While this point is selected one time, so it creates a point for that frame. Now while it is moved, you move this as well. Alright, now let's go to frame 0 and this time do it differently for these ones. While this is selected, you can add more points to have more color points. So I think better to split this, maybe one here. To get the exact same look as this one, you need more points. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get this color point tool and select that point and change it to that same red. I think I have selected all the points, so I'll just make sure I select only that point. Only that point. Now let's change it to that red. And here, as you can see, it doesn't look straight. That's why I told you to add more points, but it's okay. This point and this point, let's select them using this. I'll select them, go back to this tool and change its color to magenta, just like that, and let the blue be down here. Now, as you can see, it reduces the quality for the preview, but if you press Ctrl R, you can see it's much better in quality. So now I'm going to do the same animation while I'm on frame 1. Yeah, I want to move the blue. I'll select the blue point and one click, and while on frame 24, I want to move the blue to the top. So let's say I will move the blue to the top. And now when you see the animation, you can clearly see the difference between this. Don't worry, it won't look good now while animating because it's not rendering properly. But while you save this as a video, it's going to look good. Now when I move this point to the top, here I can clearly see that blue, but on the other side, I can't see the blue. So if you are doing any sort of animation for these path, I highly recommend use this color point tool. Let's say you're not doing anything. For the gradient, then you can use the normal gradient technique, which is this one. On the start of the video, I told that I will talk about styles as well because I have did this video for very long now. I will do this on the next video.